Copy of it. And we urge you to give it the prominence that this particular press address is targeted at one very fundamental issue, and is Christian Nigerian workers reject and protest the use of armed-strong tactics and deployment of violence against workers by Rivers State government. And I will go straight into the text of the press conference, please. This is to alert Nigerians on the birth of a new progeny of authoritarianism, industrial tyranny, and state-sponsored violence and terrorism against workers and citizens by Rivers State government. The event of the past few weeks confirmed to us and many right-thinking Nigerians that there is a full-fledged blown of despotic rule in Rivers State under the administration and supervision of Governor Wike. On the 2nd of February 2020, agents of the Rivers State government invaded and sealed the Nigerian Labour Congress Rivers State Council Secretariat at D-Line, Port Harcourt. The premises for the forced takeover was that the government claimed it wanted to do a structural integrity test on the building. This same building was only recently constructed and commissioned by the Rivers State government. The Rivers State government only realized that the building it built and commissioned needed structural tests. Immediately, workers started making strides, demanding for their rightful entitlement to salary adjustment based on the new minimum wage, release of withheld salaries, promotion, payment of arrears of home pensions, non-payment of gratuity, and withheld of statutory deduction of workers' check-off dues. Not done with the sealing of the NLC Rivers State Secretariat, hoodlums suspected to be sponsored by the state government invaded the sealed NLC Rivers State Council Secretariat. On the night of Tuesday, 21st July 2020, equipment and installation worth millions of naira were vandalized. Till today, no single arrest have been made. A few weeks ago, the chairperson of the Judicial Staff Union, JUSUN, Rivers State Council, Comrade Anthony Wachuku, was abducted, taken to the Rivers State Government House, Port Harcourt, where he was detained for 3 days and later charged to a magistrate court on trumped charges of criminal charges. While he was still being prosecuted and was on bail, he was then also kidnapped. Until date, not seen. The campaign of terror against workers in Rivers State took a very dangerous dimension few days ago, and precisely on the 27th of August, 2020, during a meeting of the NLC Rivers State Executive Council meeting at the Secretariat of Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, situated on Road 9, Pipeline, Rumogohu, Port Harcourt, held there owing to the sealing of the usual venue, which is the NLC State Secretariat. The attack by hundreds of armed hoodlums was led by a man who identified himself as the councillor of Ward 7, Obiao Akpo local government area, who said he was acting on orders from above. Given the clear intention of the mob to injure, maim, and kill many of our members, our workers had to take their heel towards abandoning the meeting. Currently, all labor leaders in Port Harcourt are operating from under. The attack on the leaders of NLC in Rivers State on Thursday, 27th of August, 2020, was only the tipping of a well-calculated attempt by the Rivers State government to eviscerate, incarcerate, and decimate the leadership of organized labor in Rivers State, just because they demanded for workers' rights. The grand design is to puzzle the voice of river workers who face a disputable industrial ordeal. Fellow citizens, Nigerian workers have never had it so bad under a state governor as Mr. Wike, who now sees himself as a dim god. As the dim god that he believes he is, Mr. Wike has no scruples for the rule of law or basic standards of decency. He had arrogated and appropriated to himself the power of both the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, and the various powers of underground non-state operatives who openly identify themselves as thugs loyal to the governor. Nigerian workers are not cowed and will never be cowed by the cowardly action of the governor to cover our voices. Workers will never succumb to scare tactics. We will continue to demand that the right of workers in the workplace, their safety, and the sanctity of their lives must be respected always, both by government and other private employers of labor. We will never sink from this sacred mandate. Nigerian workers under the auspices of NLC and TUC and our civil society allies in the discharge of our constitutional right will embark on a peaceful process in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, come September 8, 2020, to protest these nefarious acts. The protest is to draw the attention of the world to the following infraction on workers and trade union rights in Rivers State. 1. Act of lawlessness by sealing off the NLC Rivers State Council Secretariat. 2. Witch hunting, prosecution, and persecution of trade union leaders on trump-up charges. 3. Non-payment of gratuity and pension to pensioners since 2015 to date. 4. Non-payment of promotion arrears and promotion benefit to all workers in Rivers State from 2015 to date. 5. Withholding of workers' salary. 6. Refusal to negotiate with workers' organization on salary adjustment consequent upon the new national minimum wage. Since the enactment of the new national minimum wage of 30,000, there have been no collective bargaining agreement and enabling circular for the implementation of new national minimum wage in Rivers State. The state government had also refused to conclude negotiation on consequential adjustment of salary with workers in Rivers State and has also excluded all tertiary institutions in the state from benefiting from any consequential adjustment. Clearly speaking, this is not about paucity of resources. It's about lack of political will and also lack of will to continue to recognize the central role being played by workers. 7, use of thugs, especially hired thugs. The Rivers State government deployed hired thugs to attack workers, both individually and as a group. The attack of trade union leaders and violent disruption of Rivers State Council Executive Council meeting on the 27th of August 2020 was only an icing of the cake of Wike's malfeasance. 8, refusal to remit statutory check of dues to trade unions. By refusing to remit statutory check of dues to unions and labor centers, the Rivers State government is projecting an avert agenda of suffocating trade unions in Rivers State to death in clear violation of Section 17 of the Trade Union Act. Fellow Nigerians, after next week's protest, Governor Wike continued to hold labor in contempt and failed to redress our concern. We will be left with no other option than to ground every socio-economic activity in Rivers State until the state governor does the needful. And already all our unions, both in public and private, from electricity workers to petroleum workers, both senior staff and junior staff, that is Nupeng and Pangasan, construction workers, health workers, all workers from different facets of life in both public and private are already mobilized and they are ready actually to carry out this action. We are aware that he has boasted that he can procure any court order or judgment in his favor. But we still believe, even in the judiciary, we have still men and women of integrity that can actually deliver justice. Court orders and judgment cannot be for highest bidders, but for those who merit justice. And therefore, we cannot be scared because he has said so openly. And we think that we cannot, as Labour, also be under such scare. We believe that the rule of law must continue to prevail. We wish to remind Mr. Nelson Wike that the world has seen the rise and fall of even more unconscionable, atrocious, and bloodthirsty tyrants. His own case certainly will not be different. Mr. Nelson Wike should be well assured that organized labor in Nigeria and all over the world, through our international network, will continue to hold him accountable and bring him to justice even after expiration of his current terms of office. Should any slightest harm come any way of any worker during the course of the protest, already also, as required by law, we have informed all security agencies, because the law requires that we just inform them. We don't need any permission to guarantee our right under the Constitution and our right also as guaranteed under the UN Charter for Human and People Rights and also the AU Charter on Human and People Rights to protest over bad policies of government. Therefore, I will continue to implore the media to actually inform the public about what is happening to our workers in Rivers. In fact, under military rule, we have not seen this type of attack. That for demanding for your rights, you will be attacked, abducted to government house. Have government house now turned to detention center? That's the question we need to ask. Government house cannot be a detention center. And certainly it's really a shame that in this democratic dispensation, our leaders still behave as if they are emperors. We must condemn all of this, and we must assert our authority as citizens, and we must assert our liberties. So, gentlemen and ladies of the press, we have so many issues to take up, but we thought for now this is a clear priority. And because it's a decision of our Central Working Committee, we thought that we should inform the world, because we are also aware that he has deployed resources even to silence the voice of the press. But we cannot be silenced, and that's why we have chosen actually to be there live and direct and to tell the world that he is not what he preaches that he is in the context of workers' welfare. Because how do you imagine states that are even less endowed are paying the minimum wage and paying gratuity of workers? But yet, states like Rivers, that is highly endowed, cannot actually pay the benefit of its workers. And yet the workers are not allowed to cry. The workers, their mouths are tied, and they are being harassed and attacked on a daily basis. Certainly this is not the type of democracy all of us have actually vied for. And therefore, that is why we thought that this is so important and fundamental to the survival of every worker, because workers have to be alive, even to continue to make sure that we support the endeavors that all of us are yearning for. So once again, gentlemen and ladies of the press, I want to thank you immensely. And before I conclude, I think we have already issued a well-captured statement on the twin issue of the increase of petroleum price to 162 yesterday. And our organs will also meet to try to fashion out moods of operandi to really bring this issue to an end. On that note, once again, comrade, I thank you immensely for coming. Thank you.